everything looked normal that morning. It wasn't. The baby was laughing, really laughing, the full-body kind that makes strangers stop on sidewalks, and the dog kept rushing him. Again and again. And the father was running out of explanations. Kane was the name they had given the Rottweiler mix the year before Jonah was born, a 2-year-old shelter dog with a broad chest and a family had stopped trying to argue about. He was, in the way of large quiet dogs that get underestimated, one of the most even-tempered animals Marcus Oduya had ever lived with. Still at thunderstorms. Patient at the vet. The kind of dog that children in the neighborhood approached before their parents had time to call them back, and somehow Kane always made the right call. Stood still, lowered his head, let them touch his ears. For 11 months after Jonah came home, Kane did nothing to change that record. Then Jonah learned to laugh. The baby was 9 months old, sitting on the foam floor mat in the living room, and something about the way his toy octopus bounced in his grip turned into laughter so big it made Jonah fall sideways. Kane, who had been lying by the couch 8 feet away, stood up, crossed the room, pressed his nose to the baby's neck, not his face, his neck, for 3 seconds, pulled back, turned in a circle, and lay down again. Marcus watched from the kitchen doorway. He filed it. Something to monitor. The second time happened 2 days later, Jonah laughing at his own reflection in the patio door. Kane rose from his mat, crossed the room, nosed the baby's neck and shoulder, stayed close for 4 or 5 seconds, and then moved away. Jonah reached for the dog's ear in delight. Kane allowed it briefly, and then relocated to the far side of the room and lay back down. Marcus said nothing to his wife for days. He was gathering data. The third time was worse. Jonah was in his bouncy seat, mid-laugh at Marcus making faces from across the room, and Kane came from the hallway at something close to a trot. Not running, not slow. Crossed the room and put both front paws on the edge of the seat's tray, nose directly toward the baby's face, sniffing in the specific way Marcus had come to recognize and could not name. Jonah startled into crying. Kane stepped back, sat, watched. A daisy had come in from the garden at the tail end of this. She had seen Kane's paws on the bouncy seat tray. She looked at Marcus. He did not have a good answer. That night, she said what they had both started circling. He's reacting to the laugh. Every time Jonah laughs hard, it's like he's triggered by it. Marcus had 12 years in facilities management. He thought in systems, trigger response correction. He knew that certain working breeds showed prey drive activation in response to high-pitched sounds. He had read about it. He had never thought it would apply to Kane, but he could feel the shape of a wrong conclusion forming and could not find a fact that would disprove it. He set up the camera the next morning, a small security unit mounted on the bookshelf facing the living room floor. He did not tell Adez. He wanted footage, not reassurance. What the camera caught over the next 72 hours did not look like predatory behavior. It looked like something Marcus could not categorize at all. Every time Jonah laughed, specifically at the moments of full-body joyful laughter that made the baby arch his back and wave his arms, Kane left wherever he was in the house and came to the same location, close to the baby, nose toward the baby's face or neck, brief, deliberate, then away. He never escalated, never persisted, never lingered once he had completed whatever he was doing. He went back to his mat every single time. Marcus watched the footage twice. He called the vet. Dr. Simone Ibarra, the family's veterinarian of 4 years, watched the footage Marcus had transferred to his phone and said something Marcus had not expected. She said, "His nose is going to the neck and the face. He's scenting. This isn't arousal. This is detection." She paused. "What's your CO alarm situation?" Marcus did not follow the question immediately. He said, "When did you last test the batteries?" He did not know. The fire service came that afternoon. The inspector, a woman named Charlotte Reeves, tested every room with a handheld unit. The main floor registered normal. She tested the nursery last. a converted study on the north side of the house where Jonah slept, and the unit alarmed at 42 parts per million. The inspector checked the CO alarm mounted on the nursery wall. She pressed the test button. Nothing. She opened the back panel. The battery had corroded. She pointed to the furnace flue junction, visible from the utility crawlspace at the back of the nursery closet. A micro crack, probably from seasonal thermal expansion, had been venting combustion exhaust toward the room at low concentration for an estimated 11 days. Not enough for immediate acute symptoms in adults. Enough, in a room with a small infant sleeping 12 hours a day, to begin affecting neurological function over time. Enough to show, on a standard CO alarm equipped with working batteries, as a persistent low-level alarm, the alarm had been silently failing for an unknown period. Jonah's blood was tested, carboxyhemoglobin at 4.1%, elevated, not yet at the threshold for emergency intervention, but measurably above normal baseline. The pediatric toxicologist, Dr. Raphael Mena at the regional hospital, explained that at Jonah's size and respiratory rate, continued exposure at that concentration would have produced measurable neurological effects within 2 to 3 weeks. The laughter that triggered Kane, the big, full-body high respiration laughter, increased Jonah's breathing rate sharply. More breath, more absorption. Kane's olfactory system had been detecting the compound on Jonah's breath, the chemical signature of elevated carboxyhemoglobin. Not every breath. The breaths that spiked. The laughing breaths. Has your dog ever done something around your child that you couldn't explain until someone showed you what they were actually detecting? Tell us below. These stories deserve to be heard. Dr. Minna looked at Marcus and said, "The dog was reading your son's exhaled chemistry. He wasn't reacting to the laughter. He was reacting to what the laughter did to the air." He paused. Another 2 weeks, and you would have had a different kind of appointment. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you never miss the next one. The flue was repaired. The nursery aired for 48 hours. New CO alarms, 2 hardwired, went in before Jonah slept in the room again. Kane came back into the house from the yard where he had spent the inspection and went directly to the nursery. He sniffed the threshold, the corner near the closet, the air above the crib. Then he turned, walked to his mat in the living room, lay down and exhaled. He has not done the behavior since, not once in 4 months. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If these stories matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Marcus sits with Jonah on the floor mat most evenings now. The toy octopus still comes out. Jonah still does the full body laugh. Kane, lying by the couch across the room, lifts his head each time, not to move, just to check, and then lets it rest again on his paws. He already knows the air is fine. He checked it while Marcus was making coffee.